Hello everyone and welcome back. If you live in Southern California, you probably already know that wildfires are part of the natural landscape, and it's something that a lot of communities have to face. Here's a fascinating fact though. Many of the native plants in Southern California have evolved to deal with fire. And some of them actually depend on it in order to bloom or to restore. Before we go on to the three native plants that have evolved to deal with fire, let's do our little sticker on California. For California, I had to divide it by northern or southern because there's so many different systems in California, ecosystems, but here is what to me looks like California's native poppy. It turned a different color because of the pink California. A lot of the ecosystems in Southern California have evolved to deal with these periodic fire cycles, and because of drought and some climate changes, it does seem to be getting more intense as far as the fires go. Before we go into these three plants, I would love to hear from you. If you can comment, do you grow any native plants now in your garden or in your yard? And if so, what are they? What are your favorites? A little bit more about the plants I've chosen. These are plants that have evolved to deal with fire-prone areas in Southern California. So they have three ways to deal with the fires. They either resprout from underground parts of the plant that were deep enough that they survived. They regenerate from seeds. Or these are plants that can recover very quickly in burned landscapes. Let's go on to plant numero uno. The first plant is an annual, and normally for these videos on native plants, I've been choosing perennials or biennials, but this one is just ubiquitous to California. It's the California poppy. Olzia californiae. No idea if I said that right. The California poppy only blooms on sunny days. It's about 2 feet tall. The growing conditions, before we get on to how it responds to fire, are it blooms between February and October, so that's quite a long blooming season. It likes sun and dry, well-drained soil. It has low water usage, and it's especially beneficial to native bees and bumblebees. They attract bees and other beneficial insects. Bees aren't the only critters out there, and butterflies that like nectar. As far as California poppy's adaptation to fire, let's go over that a little more. The California poppy's seeds can remain dormant in the soil for years until the right conditions are met. When a disturbance like a wildfire occurs that clears the ground enough that the sun can reach the seeds, and then they germinate. This is how competition from other plants is reduced when there's a fire. And you'll see oceans of poppies blooming after this occurs. California poppies do reseed abundantly. They're very easy to grow. They're extremely drought tolerant, which is also another thing we need to be more aware of just about everywhere in the U.S. right now. You'll see this California poppy when it's already established in the wild, in nature, blooms the most abundantly between March and May. But in your garden, it could bloom much longer, like I said earlier. When you water it, it extends the blooming period, but you don't have to water it. I want to give you a little demonstration of California poppy conditions after a wildfire. Hang on. I don't have a table this time, so I'll have to go back and forth. Anyway, here's a jar with some soil in it that represents soil in nature, or your garden, but in nature. So into this jar, we're going to sprinkle some Oakes for Monarchs pollinator mixture for the eastern region, but they also make seeds for western and central Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure probably California has a seed place that would have the poppies. So there they are on top of the soil. Oh, I hope they'll grow. Then in nature, of course, got leaves going on the floor. There's vegetation on top of these seeds. Quite a bit of it. Actually, probably. And mostly alive, but right now it's only March in Oklahoma. And the only thing alive right now much are weeds or native plants, whatever you want to call them. I've got one annoying one. I don't care if it's native or not. It sticks to you, and I hate it. And when it flowers, it has stickums all over you. There's our vegetation, and you can see it's a pretty thick layer, right? The fire burns off this vegetation and allows the poppy seeds to germinate as they get more sun. That's a very easy way to get more of them. But I hope you don't get them the way with the wildfire. Many of the native plants rely on the fire cycle in order to germinate and sprout again. I would like to know in the comments, just let me know if you've witnessed the wildflower bloom out after a wildfire in your area. Hopefully not your yard or neighborhood. Those seeds could have been waiting in the soil for years for a chance to sprout. They're very patient. Our second plant has got an unusual name in my book, even the one that's easy to pronounce. It's called California buckwheat, or Gonum fasciculatum. Let me double check that. Yeah, I said it right according to what I have here on my script. Okay, let's get into this plant a little deeper. California buckwheat is deciduous, so it's going to drop its foliage when it's colder. Does it ever get that cold in California? I don't know. California buckwheat is actually not wheat. It's a flowering shrub. It's very hardy, and it can be 3 feet tall and 6 feet wide, spreading out. Its bloom period is a long one, not quite as long as the California poppy in nature, but it's May through October. This plant is of the utmost importance to a lot of pollinators. California buckwheat supports native bees, butterflies, and other beneficial insects. It's an absolute favorite of these critters. I want to tell you a little bit more about the growing conditions, and then we'll go into what its response is to fire and why I chose it as one of the top 3 for fire-prone areas in Southern California. California buckwheat grows best in sun, full sun, which is 6 to 8 hours a day. It's drought resistant, and it can also be grown as a ground cover. I would assume you'd have to trim it or something if it's going to be a ground cover. 3 feet tall is tall for a normal ground cover. But there may be, it didn't mention in my literature, but there may be some species of it that grow lower than 3 feet. The photographs I found of this, there were a bunch of them from Arizona and Mexico, maybe one from California, and my Lady Bird Johnson wildflower site that I go to online. All those photographs were in really dry, rocky soil. So I would think it could work on a hillside. And one of the reasons it's so good for the rocky, dry soil is the drought tolerance. It doesn't need bundles of water, but there's another reason. This plant has really deep root systems that help stabilize the soil, which is very important after a wildfire and you've burned off a lot of the vegetation and other growing things like trees and whatnot. It helps stabilize the soil, so maybe you don't get the landslides and mudslides. It sounds so gloomy. Sorry. But it is important for erosion control, especially in Southern California. California buckwheat helps hold the soil in place while all the ecosystems surrounding it begin to recover from the wildfire. It also is one of the most drought-tolerant plants you can grow in Southern California in a garden. I'm a native plant gardener and enthusiast, but I also hand make jewelry, and I love to do torch enameling. So, talking about all these flowers, I thought I would show you some that I made a while back. Just one second. So, these are my little torch enameled flower earrings. They have two colors, the petals, and then the center is a different color, like a real flower. And there's one color missing here that I ran out of. It's blue with a green center. So we have white with pink, green with a blue center, and then I've got a reverse of that, just not here. And this one is a kind of a pinky purple with a yellow center, and then I have a red with a purple center. And they are on my website. I'll post that up here. Plant number 3, Scarlet Bugler. Its botanic name is Penstemon centrifolia. This is a beautiful native plant, flowering plant. It's perennial, and it has tall, narrow stems, little branches with tubular red flowers. Guess what wildlife likes tubular red flowers? Did you guess hummingbirds? You're right. And what do you think is the other pollinator that likes tubular red flowers? Native bees. There are over 3,000 species of native bees in the United States. The little honeybees are actually from Europe. Scarlet Bugler blooms from April to July, and it grows up to 4 feet tall. It is a perennial. How does the Scarlet Bugler deal with fire? First of all, it's well known to just pop up in recently burned areas. Why is that? Well, it's similar to the California poppy reason, which is the vegetation is cleared out by the fire, so more sunlight reaches down to where the seeds are in the soil, waiting. Actually, my information says that it often colonizes in these cleared out spaces. When it does that, it helps bring pollinators back to these wildflower damaged areas. Its other really great feature is how beautiful it looks in the landscape. It really stands out. Much like the poppies, but now I've got red instead of orange-yellow color. It grows best in sun, surprise, and well-drained soil. It's fine with dry soil. It shouldn't be in a mucky area. If you've enjoyed learning about these native plants for Southern California, there's 12 or 13 other states I've covered already. You might consider subscribing. And if your state hasn't been done, I'll be doing it before too long. And I confess I haven't even done Oklahoma yet, and that's where I live. I try to time it so it's a good time of year for you to hear about them. So warmer states I can do almost any time. You've got to pick the other ones, especially the northern states. They're still covered in snow sometimes in March, whereas in California, hey, go for it. On my channel, I really focus on using native plants in your gardens, less grass, more native plants, because grass isn't very useful to anything in nature. I focus on pollinators, native gardens, and creating wildlife-friendly space for them. Let's go over just real quick the reasons that these plants, these three ones that are adapted to fire, and I'm sure there's others, but these are the top-rated ones, more or less. Let's go over some of the reasons again that they're so important. They help stabilize the soil, provide food for pollinators. They restore habitat for wildlife, and they rebuild plant communities after wildfire. If you're interested in adding native plants to your garden, I've created a PDF where you can type in your zip code and find out the best plants for your area. And here's the link right up here. I'll also put the link in the description for you. We covered California poppy, California buckwheat, and Scarlet Bugler today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you with the next video.